I've been trying to make this video for so long and trying to follow a script, and at some point I just gave up and I'm just gonna go off the dome. So I apologize if it feels like I'm all over the place. Getting started in the content creation space nowadays is a lot easier than it was in the past. And we can say thanks to things like YouTube, where we have access to information, being able to learn at a rapid pace, and the tools that are available to us. And by tools, I'm not talking about AI, I'm talking about the different cameras that we have access to, the lenses, the different price points. All these things are out there to be able to get started, be it photography or videography, but people still end up quitting. Well, the point of this video is, if you're starting off, if you're a beginner and you've just gotten your new camera, or you're thinking about getting a new camera, I want to point out some tips out there that might be able to help you, just so that you don't throw it all away. You don't decide to get up and sell your camera, or decide to just shelf it and never touch it. So give me a couple minutes, and hopefully the tips I can provide to you might be helpful on your journey as you begin. Hey there, my name is Taz, and I love creating stuff with my camera. I have been doing this since 2018, and whether it's taking photos, videos, flying my drone, color grading, you name it, I enjoy all of it. So with that being said, right, we all get on this journey as creatives for wildly vast reasons, and it's always under different circumstances. And it so just happened that for me in 2018, I had been off social media for quite a long time. And when I got back, I saw a lot of stuff that people were creating, like amazing photos. Because I think at the time, if I'm not wrong, reels were not a thing yet. So it was mostly photos. And I was so amazed by that I wanted to be able to create stuff that looked like what other people were doing. That's how I started to learn. And hence that began the journey to this never-ending quest to finding knowledge about photography, which also ended up being one of the most expensive things that I've done in a long time and gotten myself into. With that kind of comes my first point: patience. You have to be patient. So the thing about it is, starting this journey, at some point, you will get overwhelmed. And with all the things that you have to learn, it might let you wonder if you should even keep doing it, because there is so much information that's out there that you can either get quickly educated, or even worse, quickly confused and give up. My first camera was Sony a6000. I'm not gonna lie, I miss having that camera with me. And it's because years later, I realized I didn't know the camera well enough, and I shouldn't have gotten rid of it. Which also brings me now to my next point. They say comparison is a thief of joy. So what ended up happening was, I would look at people's work and compare myself to what it is that they were creating, which was work that was being done with cameras like the Sony a7 III, and I'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing, and this ties back to the first point that I mentioned, just being patient. Is I wanted to get to that level so quickly that I didn't realize how long it had taken those people to get to that point. And I would think that, well, it has to be the camera, right? But I think we all eventually find out it is not the camera. It's the person behind the camera. And it's all those skills that they've learned over the years that they've been doing this for. It doesn't matter if it's been a year or two. I can't come into, a specific space. It doesn't matter what kind of space it is. If it's a 9-to-5 job or a skill that you're trying to learn, babies don't just come out walking. You have to be able to put yourself on your butt first before being able to do anything. It's the exact same thing with creating content. You won't be able to get immediately good at it. I mean, there are people who are geniuses who it doesn't take them long. I wasn't that type of person. It took me a long time. And a good example of this is I mentioned before, I love color grading. And it has taken me, oh my goodness, almost 3 years to be able to start to understand what color grading really is. And I'm not talking about using LUTs. I'm just talking about being able to understand the basis of all this craft. Tying the first 2 points together, you have to be patient and don't compare yourself. Being patient with yourself and not with other people. To take the time in to learn the skill, to be able to understand your camera, to be able to understand other things that encompass creating, whether it's photography or videography. You know, I'm talking to both sets of people. Also, don't look at other people's work and set those things as, you can set them as benchmarks of things you want to achieve, but not who you expect to be tomorrow. It will not happen. Like, for that, I can guarantee you, no amount of buying LUTs or presets will get you to the level of people who have been shooting and who have been at this for years. Just take your time. That's the best way that I can possibly put it. Another thing to possibly pay attention to is, like I said, it's the person behind the camera. It doesn't really matter what type of camera you buy. I can put my Sony a7 IV in your hand right now, and if you've never really held a camera, you'll pick, it doesn't matter what lens I put on it. I mean, it might look kind of okay, but for someone who knows what they're doing, you can give them basically anything and they will be able to create really, really amazing work out of it. You know, because anyone can push the shutter button. Anybody can press record for videos, but not everybody can pick up a camera, know exactly how to compose an image. Not anyone knows how to set up the lights that they need for their videos. Like, those things take, again, time and effort to be able to acquire the skill to learn those things. And that brings me back to the point of why I have so much regret for my Sony a6000, because I don't think I ever pushed that camera as much as I should have before upgrading to my next camera, which at the time was a Sony a7 IV when it came out. And case in point, when I got my Sony a7 IV, I might put up some footage of what I shot with it at the time. It was bad, but it wasn't much different from what I was shooting with my a6000. They were roughly about the same things because I really didn't have a good grasp of, you know, the exposure triangle and how to go about it. Like, those things take not only time, but take practice to be able to learn. So try as much as you possibly can to keep some of these things at the back of your mind when getting into this space. It will take time for you to learn the skill that is required for you to learn them. And like I said, I didn't see any significant change in my work after my upgrade. And it really didn't matter also what type of lenses I have. I think by the time too, I had like f1.4 lenses, but then you eventually realize that sometimes the best photos are shot at f5.6, f6, f8, f4. The aperture really does, the aperture actually helps guide you to where you're trying to shoot, if that makes sense. I may be confusing myself as I'm going off of this because I've been trying to make this video for so long and trying to follow a script, and at some point I just gave up and I'm just gonna go off the dome. So I apologize if it feels like I'm all over the place. But I think that kind of puts into perspective a little bit of my path and how it is that I try to approach things and things that I wish I had listened to at the time. Now, if I go buy new lenses nowadays, they're for specific purposes and I know exactly what I'm buying those things for. I'm not just buying them to come sit on my shelf and not do anything, you know? So remember, your gear will not make you that much better than you currently are unless you truly understand the fundamentals of creating either good pictures or good videos. Finally, which is to me the most important thing, is before I even say it, if you stay with me up until this very point in the video, I really want to say thank you. I am not the most consistent person on YouTube. I am really trying to be at this point because I just enjoy shooting horizontal, like vertical content. It's cool and all, but man, that's a rant for another day. I'm not gonna get into that, but I just wanted to say I appreciate you so much. If you're new here, thank you for watching my video. And also feel free to hit that subscribe button, you know, like the video, drop some comments, share your opinions. I would love to go back and forth with people in the comments. But like I said, my most important point for me is don't forget why. Why did you pick up a camera in the first place? I think a lot of people kind of forget why they do it. And it really doesn't matter what your why is. It's just so that you don't forget. Like, depending on what your why is, don't forget what it is what I'm basically trying to say. If you picked up a camera because you want to make extra money because the economy is so bad right now, do it. just don't forget that that's what made you start. If you picked up the camera so that you can pass on emotions with the art that you created, or that with the art that you create, don't forget that. Things get overwhelming, things get difficult, or the inspiration is not that much, just remember why you picked up the camera in the first place. For me, it's a little bit more personal than that. And it's just realizing that thing kicked on again. Getting back into what it is that I was talking about with remembering why. Like I said, it varies for people. It could be money. It could be so you could just take pictures of your kids or make videos of your family. It doesn't matter. It could be that your goal eventually is to have future films, to get into blockbuster movies. It doesn't matter. Just don't forget the reason why you picked up a camera in the first place. That's one of the most important things for you to be able to hold on and start your journey knowing that no matter how rough or tough things may get, you know, you're going to find a way to get through it. I can tell you for sure that I have not made as much money as my gear may make it seem as. On the contrary, if not for my 9-to-5 job, you know, I wouldn't have any of the things that I have. And one of the other reasons why I decided to start doing stuff like this on YouTube is because I remember that I didn't start this because I wanted to make money out of it. If money comes from it, which slowly it is, I'm grateful for it. But I want to be able to create content that I'm happy with. I can help other people with, I can inspire other people with. That in itself that's my why. That's the reason why I decided to pick up a camera. And I think it's only just recently that I remembered, because when I started going on the path of trying really hard to start my photography and videography business, and how hard it has been and continues to be, I don't forget that it's fun doing this. I love it. It's enjoyable. I get the itch sometimes when I haven't touched my camera in a while. It's like I'm probably addicted, but it's a good kind of addiction. But yeah, so just remember, like I said, from the very top, be patient, take your time learning the craft. Don't compare yourself to other people. Comparison is a thief of joy. Your camera will only capture what it is that's in front of it. And above all, just don't forget your why. If you've been doing this for a long time, you can share some tips with others that are going to be in the comments of what kept you going. If you're new and you're trying to figure things out, let me know what you're trying as you start your journey. But until then, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.